Hello and welcome to Disney Travel Tales, a podcast that allows you to immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny and I'm so happy to be here with you talking about my favorite thing, Disney trips. Join us every Friday as we explore the parks or cruise ships with a new guest and learn inside tips and tricks to hopefully help make your vacation go a little smoother. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you are listening so you never miss a new episode. And I would love it if you left a positive review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. Another way to support the podcast is to use me as your travel agent at no cost to you. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com. Let me do all the hard planning while you sit back and count down the days to your vacation. Okay, so let's get going with today's show. Hello and welcome. You are listening to episode number 95, and I am here with Stephanie, and we are going to talk Disneyland, and I'm so excited because I love Disneyland. Stephanie is a fellow podcaster, so y'all will have to go check out her podcast. It's called Magic Key Adventures Podcast. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Disney vacations?
Absolutely. So, I am a wife and mom. I also have a full-time job. I go to Disneyland quite frequently as a magic key holder. So I kind of make it a point to make many trips as possible. You know, you gotta do that girl math, right?
Yes.
And so I have 3 boys. They are very spread out in age. So I have a 18-year-old son. I have a 10-year-old son, and I have a 4-year-old son, so I'm a mom of boys. And so the trip we're about to talk about is mainly a trip with just one of them, because I've done a solo trip with each of them. And so I decided I had a great opportunity to take the youngest, and so that's the trip we're going to talk about.
That's so fun. So are you the only magic key holder in your family?
I am not. So when I initially bought the magic keys, it was me and my 2 oldest boys. At the time when I bought them, Charlie was not needing a ticket, so he could come with us whenever. So that was nice.
Yes.
And then after he turned 3, I waited a little bit because, you know, magic keys go on sale. They tend to go on and off sale. So I had to wait a little bit before I could buy him a magic key. And so once I was able to, he got a magic key as well. So the only one who doesn't have one is my husband. So he's still the only person I buy a ticket for. But he goes way less than we do. So
yeah, and how far are you from Disneyland?
We are 3 hours away, almost 3 exactly. Just really depends on traffic.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 routes we can take because we are in the desert. We can either go through Palm Springs or we can go through San Diego. So whatever way my GPS says I'm going to get there faster is the route I take.
That's amazing. Oh, I would love to be that close to a Disney park. It'd probably be dangerous. It's probably better for my husband that I'm not.
I wish I was closer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'll take
it's
my
the
3
dream.
hours.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about this trip that you took with your 4-year-old. I'm so excited to hear about it. So on your arrival day, what did that look like for y'all?
So I waited for my husband to get off of work. He works in law enforcement, so I was waiting for him to get off his shift. And then me and Charlie packed up the car. Charlie's my son, by the way. We packed up the car and we headed towards our hotel. So we decided to get a hotel just because it was going to be easier with him being a toddler, and I was going to be taking a stroller and all kinds of things with me. And so I wanted to make the trip as easy on me as possible. So we decided to stay at the Hojo, the Howard Johnson in Anaheim. And I made that reservation kind of last minute, but it still worked out. And we ended up getting one of those accessibility rooms because for some reason that was like the cheapest one I could get. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, that's what I'm getting. So we ended up being on the first floor in building 3. Now, I'm not an expert to know which buildings are new and which aren't, so I can't tell you that. But our room was decent, and it was obviously pretty big since it was an ADA room.
Have you stayed here before?
I had stayed there one time before. I forgot what building I was in, but me and the boys did stay there at one time. I want to say it was during like Thanksgiving for one of
Mm-hmm.
our trips.
Yeah, this is such a popular hotel, especially for families, because it has like a fun pool area. The rooms are cute, and then it's walking distance to the parks.
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose it. I really thought we were going to be utilizing that really fun pool play area. And once we got there, I asked Charlie if he wanted to go, and he said no.
You never know with kids, right?
You never know.
Yeah.
Exactly. He kept telling me he wanted to go to Disneyland, but we didn't have reservations to the park that day. So we did a compromise and did downtown Disney instead. And I think that was good enough for him at that point. But,
Yeah, that's
yeah, so
fun.
no pool for us this time after I everything. Some online freight.
That's so funny. So what'd y'all do in downtown Disney?
So we just decided to walk around. We mostly went into World of Disney, which was pretty packed on this day. In fact, the whole Esplanade was packed because Oogie Boogie was gone.
Oh,
So
yeah.
a lot of people being kicked out of the park at that time and spilled into the Esplanade or going into Disneyland. So it was pretty crowded, but we made our way through and got all of our purchases. Charlie picked a toy, and I went a little crazy with the Spirit jerseys. But they had their holiday ones there.
That's
so I had to
dangerous.
get one of those. I know. And then the new Disney 100, the one with the fireworks, I really wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought another zip-up sweatshirt. I'm really into like the zip-up hoodies instead of like the pullovers. So I found one that had the Disneyland D, the 1955, and I couldn't not take it home with me.
That's so fun.
So,
And
yeah, that's what we did. Yeah. So after that, we walked into the Grand Californian because I wanted to see the Coco display. They had Miguel and Dante from the movie Coco that the culinary staff from Disneyland created, and I wanted to see that and take pictures of that, and then try the little treats that are inside the hotel. It was very nice. There was a piano player playing, and so we got some treats and we sat down. Of course, with a toddler, they want you to open the toy right away, so I was doing that as well.
Yep.
So we just kind of hung out in the Grand California for a little while before we made our way back to the hotel.
Oh, I love that lobby. When we were there visiting in September, we stopped by and saw the display, and just that whole hotel is amazing.
It is. It's beautiful. There was actually a wedding going on too, so that was really fun
Oh,
to
that's
see,
fun.
like everybody having fun and dressed up and hear the DJ playing.
That's very cool. And I just wanted to note that this was Sunday, October 8th, correct?
Correct.
Yes, just for context.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the answer is yes, but are there still all the construction walls kind of in downtown Disney right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, over there by what was it called? The Uva Bar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are still up.
It just makes it feel so much more compact and crowded walking around.
It does, yeah. I got to see more of downtown when we went to the park the next day, because I don't take the tram when I have the stroller.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's just move into your park day. Y'all went Monday, October 9th. Which park did y'all visit?
So we started at Disneyland. So one of the perks of having a Magic Key is that you do get the park hop with them, but you still have to pick your starting park just like everyone else. And so we started at Disneyland. So I was checking out of my hotel, and so we got up super early. Well, Mom did, of course, because Mom has to pack and get everything ready. So I was up super early, got us packed and into the car, and we drove to the parking structure so that we could be at the park all day. With the Hojo, the one thing is that they don't usually let you keep your car there if you're not staying there, just because they have limited space. But there are hotels on Harbor that will let you keep your car there, because I stayed at a couple.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So I drove to the parking structure. We ended up in Pixar Palace on the 4th floor. So we had to take the elevator down to the 2nd floor because, as I mentioned, the trolley and a jogging stroller are no fun when you are by yourself. So I definitely recommend going to the 2nd floor and walking on the bridge. The bridge takes you to, I guess I don't know if you would call it the side or the back or what you would call it, but it takes you basically to the Disneyland Hotel and to a security at the Disneyland Hotel.
Perfect.
So we made it to security. Security was pretty low, or it was a wait time, basically. There wasn't a lot of people there. Made it there pretty fast. And I want to say, what time did we get in? So we got to the gate at around 8:30 to Disneyland. So as soon as we got in, we make our way, through Main Street. And I'm just asking Charlie what he wants to do. This is his trip, so he gets to decide what we're going to do. Yeah, so he said he wanted to go do Goofy's train. So in his language, that means Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Unfortunately, it was not working, or it wasn't open. The whole morning, it wasn't open. So we kind of struggled with trying to get on that ride. And it was really funny, too, because I was checking ride times the day before, and I was noticing that it was down a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I thought it was interesting, too. So I was like, please don't be down all day. Right. I don't want to go home with a disappointed 4-year-old.
Yeah.
That is his favorite ride. So I went through Adventureland instead, trying to make my way to the Jungle Cruise. And I said, let's go get on the boats. And he said, no, I don't want to. So I said, okay, how about the pirate boat? He's like, no. And I said, what about Winnie the Pooh? And he's like, no. And then he says, I want to go on the honey ride. So either he put it together or he didn't realize that Winnie the Pooh is the honey ride. But yeah. I was like, okay, let's go. So we went to Winnie the Pooh and we rode Winnie the Pooh, which was super cute. I love that ride. So fun.
Yeah, I love the Winnie the Pooh at Disneyland. It's so different from the one at Disney World, and there was never a wait. Like, it's almost always, or like a very short wait usually. Yeah,
that's awesome. While I was there, I do like to peek at the construction from, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And it's so fun to see all the cast members, up there with their hard hats, getting everything ready. I just wish I was like a fly on their hard hat so I can listen to what they're saying.
I know. That'd be so cool.
So let's see. After that, we went to Fantasyland. So I decided maybe we should do some of the rides at Fantasyland because Charlie was still adamant about going on a train. So I thought maybe we can go on Casey Jr. instead. So we got in line for Casey Jr. And as we were getting in line, the Mad Hatter and Alice were making their way through Fantasyland and just picking up some friends and taking them to the tables that are right there in front of Casey Jr. Mm-hmm. And just having like little tea parties with them. It was so cute to watch it from the queue, right?
Yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah, so we waited in the queue and had some entertainment while we waited and got on the ride, and he really liked it. I don't think he's ever been on that one before, so he really liked it. And after that, we made our way. Let's see. He didn't want to go on any of the other rides in Fantasyland, so we went to It's a Small World after that. That's what he said he wanted to do. So we made our way back there to It's a Small World and rode It's a Small World. Didn't see any characters on the way there, but he had so much fun. And I love taking videos of him enjoying the rides. So I have a few videos of him, looking around and having fun. And after that, one of my favorite things to do at Disneyland is to have a Black Calf cold brew from Docking Bay 7. So I had mobile ordered that early in the morning just to make sure that I was going to get it the minute they open, which
That's
is at 10:30.
smart.
Yeah. So we made our way over to Batu in Galaxy's Edge, and I got my cold brew. And that's where we met one of my friends who happens to be a cast member and was off that day. And we enjoyed our cold brews together and just kind of sat there at Docking Bay 7 trying to figure out what we should do next. At that point, I noticed that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was open, but the wait time was 65 minutes.
Oh, no.
There's no way we're going to wait 65 minutes. So I did the crazy thing and decided to buy an individual lightning lane just so that we could go on that ride. I just wanted to make sure that Charlie was going to get on his favorite ride, and decided it didn't matter how much it costed. I just wanted him to be happy.
Yeah, and I think it's a great option for people to have that. So you can choose if you want to buy it or not, if you want to wait or not. I think it's a great option.
Yeah, which is funny because now it is part of Genie Plus, so you don't have to buy an individual lightning lane, but that day I did.
Yeah.
So I bought the individual lightning lane. My friend opted out of the individual lightning lane, said I was already spending enough money on me and Charlie, so we all walked to Toontown because I was able to get an individual lightning lane pretty fast. So we walked over there and were able to get in the queue, and it's a shortened queue. So Charlie's favorite part of the queue is the Mouse Skidooer from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but we didn't get to see that. That's not one of the things you get to see when you're in the lightning lane, unfortunately. But he didn't notice, thankfully, so he was just excited to get on the ride.
That's great.
Yeah, so we got on the ride, enjoyed the ride, and then as soon as we got off, I really wanted to see if Charlie was going to be tall enough to do the gadget coaster.
Mm-hmm.
But that line was super long too. I couldn't believe all of the ride times in Toontown. They were just so high on this day. So I ended up buying Genie Plus because I wanted to make sure that Charlie was going to get on some of the rides that were rides that were for all children. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of did my research and saw that there's probably about 8 rides on Genie Plus that I could probably book for him just so he could get on them. And at one point I did book a lightning lane for Haunted Mansion because he does like the Nightmare Before Christmas version. So I booked that one, and that was going to be later on in the afternoon at like 1:50. So at this point, I think it's like 11:30-ish. And so my friend and I decided, I guess it's time for lunch. So we made a mobile order for Lucky Fortune over at California Adventure. It's one of my favorites, and I've been wanting to try some new things there. So we made our mobile order, and we made our way over there. Charlie is a picky eater, so I did not order him anything. I actually brought in a lunch bag with peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter crackers, granola bars, cereal bars, things like that. Things that he likes to eat so that he can eat throughout the day. But I also kept asking him if he wanted to eat, and he kept telling me no. So at this point, he hadn't eaten a whole lot, but I kept offering him food, and he wouldn't take it. I got the yaki udon with, is it carriage inspired crispy chicken. So it's with mushrooms, sugar snap peas, bok choy, dark soy, and hoisin sauces.
That sounds so
So
good.
I know. I never ordered that before. I don't remember if that's one of the new items or not, but I did end up ordering that. So it was so good. It was a little bit spicy, but it was so good. The noodles were good. I love mushrooms, so it was a good dish for me.
That sounds delicious.
So we did spend quite a bit of time trying to find a table because it was, lunchtime at this time. So finding a table over there in San Francisco wasn't that easy. But once we did, we got to sit down and we could see Baymax from our vantage point. So it's so cute to get to see them, but his line was super long, so there was no way.
I know, maybe one day you can meet him since y'all are close by.
I know. Yeah, I hope so. I hope to do it. And then, so after we finished eating, we went to Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. Charlie was saying that's what he wanted to ride next. My friend had to leave at that point, so they left, and me and Charlie stayed in line. But Charlie was starting to act a little different. He was kind of acting not his normal self, so I could tell something was wrong. I asked him if he needed to use the restroom, and he finally said yes. So we got out of line and went to the nice bathroom that's over there at California Adventure, which is the child care center. And so we went there and went to the restroom. And as soon as we got out of the restroom and he gets back in his stroller, I'm asking him still if he wants to eat, and he's saying that he wants some peanut butter. As I'm getting him this peanut butter, unfortunately, and I hope none of you are squeamish. If you are, please fast forward. But Charlie ended up throwing up a little bit in his stroller.
Oh, no.
And but you remain calm, you keep going. So I took him to a different restroom because there was a lot of moms in there with their infants. So I didn't want to disrupt them. So I ended up going to a different bathroom, the one over by Flo's. And I got him cleaned up and just let him cool off in the bathroom and changed his shirt, cleaned him up. And then after that, decided, okay, we're going to take it easy now. So I just tried to find a lot of places that had like air conditioning or in the shade. So we kind of walked around really slowly. And then I remembered that the Main Street Cinema is a great place because it's, it's nice and dark, it's nice and cool. Plus it's got all these cute little movies. So I took him over to Disneyland and we hung out in the Main Street Cinema for a little bit. After a while, he started acting like himself again. And so I was like, okay, great. And at this point, also, I'm calling my husband because, you need that reassurance that you're doing all the right things with your kids.
Yes.
Like, should I take him home? Should we, what do I do? We have a lightning lane. Do I take him on the ride? All these questions swirling through your head. And so I needed my partner to tell me his opinion. And so he was just like, I think you should take it easy. And we took it easy. And then once he started acting more like himself, I took him to the Haunted Mansion. And he did great. He was doing so good. And at that point, I thought, okay, I'm going to order him a hot dog from the refreshment corner because that's one of the other things that he'll eat. And I'm so glad that I did because as soon as we got off from the Haunted Mansion, we made our way to the refreshment corner and then went to the Plaza Inn to find some seating in the shade. I figured there was not going to be anything inside, so I found something in the shade, and he ate that entire hot dog and the chips. So he was back to being my kid again.
Yeah.
And he was doing so much better after that.
That's so good. So, I mean, sometimes you just don't know why kids get sick. It can be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything. I have that issue with my kids because they're picky eaters. A lot of the times that does happen because they're so limited on what they'll eat. So we do our very best, but sometimes these things do happen with them. It's never happened at Disneyland, I don't think, but so thankful that it was just me and him, because I think if I had any of my other kids, I probably would have felt really bad. That I am now having to take care of the little one, and now we have to stop everything that we're doing. And because it was just me and him, it was just so much easier to dote on him and be there for him and just allow him that time and space that he needed.
Yeah, for sure.
To recover. Yeah. So the other bad thing about having Genie Plus this day was it was really hard to book lightning lanes. A lot of the lightning lanes kept running out, or they were for like later on in the night when I knew I couldn't get on the rides with him because we were going to have to leave because we were going to go back home on this day. So I was able to make one more lightning lane for Buzz Lightyear, and so we went and did that after he ate his hot dog. So well, actually, let me backtrack, because what I did while he was eating the hot dog was Hungry Bear has 2 drinks, and I wanted to try them both, so I decided I would order them both, even if it was just to try them. So I ordered the, I think it was the chai pumpkin iced tea. It's called something like that. And then the huckleberry lemonade. So I ordered those 2 things, and Charlie ended up drinking one of them, and it wasn't the chai one, don't worry. He really liked the lemonade, so I got 2 drinks of that and decided I really do like it, and I hope to get it again. But he took over that drink, which I'm also thankful for, because there's no way I was going to drink 2 drinks.
Yeah.
So the chai one, I don't know what it is. Disneyland puts a little too much pumpkin and things, because it's the second pumpkin drink that I tried, because I did in another trip try the cold brew from Red Rose Burn, and I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was too much. So this one was a little easier, but I still couldn't drink it all.
Yeah, they kind of just pack in that flavor.
Yeah, they do. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to Buzz Lightyear after that. So we went from one end of the park to the other.
Good thing it's a small park.
Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, no, it's good though, because since he had just eaten and stuff, it's good to also take that time. So we went to Buzz Lightyear, and I gave him his little gun so he can try and shoot everything. And I'm just sitting there practicing so that the next time I go on there with my husband, I can still beat him.
There you go.
Gotta keep up the high scores.
Oh yeah, it's important.
Yeah, so happy I got my practice in. And we got off the ride, and I had ordered a Darth by chocolate from the Galactic Grill. The last time we had it, I didn't get to take a picture of it for my Instagram because my husband ate it. So I ordered it again so I could have a picture of it. I know it sounds silly, but it was really good. So,
oh no, these are important things.
Yeah. But I still enjoyed it because it was really good. But what I didn't realize is that it really is a team effort to eat this thing, because it is so, so rich. But it was so good. So I probably ate about half of it. Charlie really didn't want any of it. He ate the little lightsaber, the little chocolate lightsaber that it came with. So that's what he ate from it.
When was the last time you visited a Disney park? For many adults, it's been a really long time. I would love to help you fix that situation. As a travel agent specializing in Disney, my job is to make sure your vacation can go as seamless as possible. All of my services are complimentary to my clients. Yes, you heard that right. I'm free to you. These services include helping you from the start finding the perfect resort to fit your needs, handling all the bookings and reservations, helping to teach you about the parks, because if it's been a while, man, have they changed. I have insider tips and tricks I share with all of my clients, and I will be your single point of contact throughout your entire trip, even while you are there. Don't wait another year to visit a Disney park or go on a Disney cruise. Let this be the year you finally go. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com to get the conversation started, or see the link in the show notes to fill out my quote form. All listeners that book a trip with me will receive a $20 gift card to use on their trip. Just make sure you say you heard this on the podcast. Okay, now back to the show.
Okay, so after that, we started walking towards Main Street, and Charlie said he wanted to go back into the Main Street Cinema again, which was so cute because, they play all those old movies, and he recognizes some of those movies from Disney Plus because he really does enjoy them. In fact, that's probably why he loves Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway so much, because he loves those little short movies on Disney Plus. So he requested to go back in there, so we sat in there. And then he said, okay, it's over. And so we left, which is so funny because, this play on a loop. So yeah. He's like, the show's over. Let's go.
It was over for him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And at this point, I'm still trying to check Genie Plus, trying to make more magic happen. And there was no way. So I was really trying to get on Web Slingers for him, but that didn't end up happening. I was going to take him back to Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, but that had a really long wait time at that time. So we ended up going to Little Mermaid and riding on Little Mermaid. And that ended up being our last ride. So we went on Little Mermaid, enjoyed that, and did some shopping afterwards. And then called it a day for us. But we did a lot of shopping before we left. So
what time did y'all end up leaving? Because it seems like y'all really did a lot of stuff. Even just the walking alone takes so much time going back and forth.
Yeah. It was about 7:30. Because we ended up getting home around 10:30.
Y'all had a really full day.
Yeah, we did. But I think I want to say it's mostly because we had that hotel. Because if not, I don't think we would have stayed as long for sure. And then the other thing is that since it's a Monday, I really have to choose when I want to go or when I want to leave the park, because then I'm going to sit in traffic. So leaving at around 7 was a perfect time to leave because I didn't really hit any traffic on the way back. And the GPS ended up taking me through San Diego again. So yeah, it was a full day. I felt like it was a full day, even with our hiccups. But the thing that I was left with, that I even texted my husband, I was like, I don't want to leave. I really don't want to leave now that we're having such a great time. And he's doing so good. Like, no tantrums, no meltdowns, nothing. It was just pure fun. And so I didn't want to leave, but we had to.
Yeah, that's so great. That's one of the things I love about the one-on-one with your kids, is because most of the time you can be focused on them and to like their needs and what they want to do. And so it's almost like they don't have a reason to get upset. They can just enjoy it. True. It's so fun.
Yeah, because it's all about them. So what's there to be upset about?
Yeah, they don't have to compete with anyone, or most of the time they're getting their way. It just works out well.
Yeah. Yep.
So I do have a couple of questions. What were the crowds like? Because this was a holiday for some.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was Columbus Day, and that is one of the biggest reasons why we went, because I had the day off because I work for a municipality. So we have the day off, but my kids do not have the day off. And I only have one technically school-age kid, I guess. The other one's in college. But so I really took that opportunity to be able to go and take him on this day. But yeah, it was pretty crowded for the holiday. And I think that's probably why I struggled so much with Genie Plus as well, because of the high crowds. It wasn't warm that day. It was actually a really nice day as well. But yeah, crowd wise, I feel like maybe it even spilled over because of Boogie Boogie the night before. It definitely wasn't as busy as it was the night before, but yeah, it was quite a bit of people there.
Yeah, we have, in Texas, we have a long weekend, and some of the schools here even have the whole week off, so a lot of people will go to Disney during those times because it's like enough time to squeeze in a trip.
Right. And also I was hearing that it was like a, what's it called? Like a fall vacation for some updates. So I think that was another reason why it was crowded. Ride times were pretty high as well. So one of my favorites is Pirates of the Caribbean. And I think most of the time that ride was like 45 minutes.
Wow, that's really long.
Yeah. Yeah, because that queue was extending all the way to the bridge and everything. So it was pretty long. Yeah.
Yeah, because even when we were there over Labor Day, it was really crowded, but that Pirates was still only 25 minutes. So that's interesting.
It's so funny. Me and my friend were actually talking about the vibe of the difference between how crowded it feels in Disneyland and how crowded it feels in California Adventure. But I was telling him that I think that with California Adventure, because it's more ADA accessible, you feel like it's less crowded than it does at Disneyland. So there's still a lot of people. All the ride times are pretty high. But yeah, in Disneyland, you feel the crowd because the aisleways are a lot more narrow.
Yeah, it's hard to get around, especially when it's crowded.
Yeah.
So what was your least magical moment of your trip?
I think the least magical moment is when your kid gets sick and there's nothing you can do about it. It's the hardest thing in the world as a parent to feel helpless, but I'm really glad that he was able to recover. But yeah, it's never fun when they get sick. And then I'm just really glad too that even though the restroom was very crowded with people, I didn't feel stressed out like people were coming in and being rude or trying to push me out of the way or anything. I really had that time to focus on him when I was in the restroom trying to clean him up.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is such a great trip tale because things go wrong all the time at Disney parks. And people go, and people who only go every now and then, they want it to be this perfect vacation, and sometimes your kid's going to throw up, but you can still make the best out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like I'm one of those people, even though I go quite often, when I'm with my older kids, I push pretty hard. I push them pretty hard because they can do it. They can hack it and they enjoy it. But when I'm with the youngest one, it's harder to do that. And the other thing that I had going on was I had actually woken up with back pain a couple of days earlier, and I had still not recovered from that. And so I was, medicating with ibuprofen and wearing a lidocaine patch and doing all those things. And that also kind of forced me to slow down with him. And I really think that was just the universe or God's way of telling me I needed to slow down and take it easy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, life happens, right?
It does. And like you said, sometimes it happens at the park.
Yep. So what was your most magical moment?
I think it's not really a moment, just that feeling that I had that I didn't want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I just didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it was just that feeling because we were having so much fun and I didn't want to leave. That to me was magic.
I think that's such a real feeling too. I feel that every time I go to the parks, like especially when you're like walking out and you know you're not going to be back the next day, it's hard.
Yeah. It definitely is. And it's really hard too when your body's telling you, like when I do trips and they're more than a day or two long, that last day that you're there, you're trying to push yourself, but your body doesn't want to go, but your heart's screaming like, no, I don't want to leave.
Yes. Absolutely.
That wasn't the case this time. It was just that we were having such a great time.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that. So when is your next trip planned? When are you going back?
So I have kind of like a mini trip planned in November. I am currently working on a Disney sleeve. I started it a year ago. During Oogie Boogie, actually, I started it, and so I'm going in for another session on November 7th. And so I always, because it's a Disney tattoo, I always have to be in or around Disneyland just to tie it in with memories.
Uh-huh.
And so I have a reservation to go into Disneyland, but me and my husband also were thinking about having brunch at Earl of Sandwich with the Tavern. So we're going to tie it in that way, and then I have a tattoo appointment in the afternoon. So that's my next mini trip. But our next, like, big trip, I guess you can say, we're going to go the week of Thanksgiving. So I've usually gone the week of Thanksgiving or the weekend before. Mm-hmm. But my husband has Monday, Tuesdays off. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to go on a Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a little family vacation that week because my husband loves the food. He may not be there for like all of the Disney-centric stuff, mm-hmm. but he will eat there. He loves to eat there. So with Festival of the Holidays, I was like, you really need to go with us during one of these times so you can enjoy Festival of Holidays. So I'm excited to take him for that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. So this is off topic a little bit, but I'm just curious, how are the crowds usually around Thanksgiving at Disneyland?
So the past couple of years that I've gone, I thought they were manageable, to be honest, which is why I probably have done it 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. But everything is changing. I feel like crowds are very fluid. You could go on a day and it could be packed, and you could go on a day and it will not be. And it's just been really weird to kind of predict it. Mm-hmm. But the last 2 years that we have done it, it's been very manageable. And I think we've used Genie Plus both years too, just to make sure that we're getting the most out of our day. Mm-hmm. But it's been manageable. And then usually during those times too, I like to plan like a couple of sit downs, just to get those in there as well.
Well, that's really good to know because Thanksgiving at Disney World is nuts. Like completely insane. It's so crowded. It's probably the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas are like the absolute busiest times to visit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's actually good to know about Disneyland.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but like I said, I've usually gone like the weekend before, mm-hmm. so I've never been there the week of, so I can only imagine. But the weekend before, you'd think it'd be just as bad because everybody's off.
Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes. So with that little segue, why don't you tell everyone where we can find you on Instagram?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at magic_key_adventures. That's where I usually post like all of our photos and videos of all of our trips while we're on the trip. And then I also I'll repost them and post like more things when I drop an episode. So I have episodes every Tuesday where I talk about our trips, and so I'll repost some of those photos and share new ones just so that it's fresh still.
Yeah, so everyone needs to go follow along so we can see what it's like when you go at Thanksgiving, around the Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, I hope you do. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I loved hearing about your special day with your son. One-on-one trips are like totally right up my alley, so I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me, for inviting me, and for just the invitation. Because I know with, having the same type of podcast, it may sound like it's very competitive, but I really appreciate you extending an invitation to me. And I just want to tell you how inspired I was by your podcast, because I wasn't sure if people would want to listen to trip reports. But once I heard about your podcast, I was like, okay, this is something people want to listen to. So I'm really glad that we have each other and that we have this beautiful Disney community.
Yeah, that means so much to me. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I feel like there's room for everyone at the table.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you spending your time over here with us, and I hope this was just what you needed to hear today. I'm always looking for new guests for the podcast, so if you are traveling to any Disney park or cruise, see the show notes for more information about being on the show. Visit the show all around the web at DisneyTravelTales.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Disney Travel Tales. See pictures from the guests on their vacations, plus this is just a great way to stay up to date with all things related to the podcast and Disney travel in general. Join me next week with a brand new episode. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality. Hi, this is Jenny, just popping on with some exciting news. I've started a Facebook group just for you. I'm really excited about this because not only will this be a great opportunity to get to know each other, but this is also a safe space to talk all things Disney. Members can share travel tips, resort tips, likes and dislikes, and the best part is this will give you an opportunity to talk to the guest on the show and ask them questions about their trips. I was trying to think of a fun name for us, and Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse came to mind. This is a private group, and of course, I will not allow anyone to be bullied or talked down to. I just want this space to be positive and fun. Check the show notes for a link to join, or just search Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse in Facebook. I can't wait to see you over there.